So, good evening, Marco. Thank you for being with us today. So, why don't we start by introducing yourself?
Thank you, Gianluca. My name is Marco Trombetti. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. So I started in 1999, founding a company called Translated. That was one of the first internet translation company. And with the profits from this company, about 4 years ago, I created a venture fund that mostly invests in applied AI. And this venture fund, Pi Campus, is about 40 investments, and now also has invested in a school for AI.
Okay, so what was Translated doing, and why did you start this company?
Translate is still doing, and it's actually a very fast-growing company, and is doing AI to support human translators. So for many, many years, translators were translating at a certain capacity. And now our brain allows us to do about 3,000 words a day. And we wanted to change that and making translators more productive. The entire amount of content we translate in the world is actually limited by our capacity. So we wanted to put under steroids translators. And so we created an AI that is able to suggest them possible translations of what they're translating and then minimize the amount of edit they have to do to deliver the perfect quality. And then when they change it, actually they change the suggestion, the machine will learn in real time.
Got it. So you started this in 1999, right? So how was working on AI in 1999 when the hype was, I guess, not as high as today, right?
I think we were still in AI winter. And in fact, the very fun part is that I was not telling anyone that we were using AI, because if I was going to my customer and say, look, we're supporting professional translator to do better quality through AI, they will say, oh, this is Google Translate here. We don't want to buy from you. So AI was not cool at all. But that created an incredible opportunity to create something that I call magic AI. So you take a standard service and you put some AI in the back, you don't tell anyone. And people started saying, wow, how can you make translations so fast and so great? And really, it was because, wow. And then you sell the service for the full price. And they're very happy because they get it for half of the time. So it was winter, but we could take advantage of prejudice versus AI.
Okay, interesting. So basically you're saying now everybody wants to put the AI stamp on the product.
Yeah.
Well, back in the days, it wasn't a good thing to have the AI stamp, right?
Yeah, I would say for some years now, there will be the AI hype. And so it would be good to say, look, we do translation via AI. And you will sell more. Maybe it will change again.
Got it. So what were the challenges you were facing back in when you got started using artificial intelligence? Well,
first, everything started from me. I'm not an AI engineer by training. I was studying physics, astrophysics, and there was not many people actually learning neural net at that time. But so the reason why I approached AI was because I had a problem to solve, and the problem was simple. I had so many translators. And how we started is not by making them more productive. Actually, what we started with is that we had so many translators that we didn't know which translator was good at doing what. And we were receiving about 2,000 resumes a month, and we didn't have the money to process them, to read them. And so we started saying, oh, how can we at least pre-select good translators? And so there was a guy called Paul Graham, 2002, super smart guy then in 2005, founded Y Combinator, the best accelerator in the world. And at that time, he was writing Bayesian classifiers. So I came up with this paper, I think it was about 2002. And I said, okay, let's apply a Bayesian classifier, not for spam email, but to a different purpose, and trying to understand the resume of people. Who is good at doing what? And so we started by applying this technology. I got in love with the idea of teaching machines to do things, especially because I didn't have money. So I couldn't do anything. I couldn't pay people to do it. And the machine was doing this for free. So I said, okay, I love it. I want to do more.
Interesting. And so this was the beginning. What is Translated capable of doing now with AI?
Well, now that technology, so we're applying AI to every single part of the process of translating documents. But the two main thing is this classifier. Now is a technology that uses the state of the art of deep neural net today to predict, giving the text inside a document, who is the translator that performed better in the past. And by doing that, we're using about 1.2 million translations that we have done, where we know by a review from another translator what was the quality, and we collect another 30 data points for each translation, and with about 40 million data points, we're able to predict, giving a text, who is good at translating that. I mean, a medical translator will be completely different from an information technology translator. Oh. But when you dig down in medicine, now cardiology is very different from oncology in terms of technology, and nobody in our company was able to retain in their minds all this information. So that is what we do. A big part of what we do is called a T-rank, so a system for ranking translators. And then we've worked hard on something that I'm very passionate, is a new kind of deep neural net that can learn in real time. So the typical models in AI are something that you train with a lot of data and then are static. But our translator were interacting with the system in real time. So you change a sentence, you change a term, and you don't want the machine to keep making the same error and you have to correct. And inside a document, no, that's very boring. And so we had to develop a new kind of neural net that is actually able to be retrained in the real time with single instance of corrections. And so it can adapt to your style, to the terms you're using, but also, because of this, can also adapt to the entire context. So it's not like what you probably know, Google Translate will be sentence by sentence translation. He's able to predict the translation of a sentence given the entire document.
Got it. So how powerful it is today? Do you have like some metrics that give us an idea how helpful and how powerful the algorithm is?
Well, I can tell you that, so if you take the latest, I think that the best generic engine out there is probably Google Translate, the neural version, the latest model of Google. And I think we use this technology in about 27 languages, and on about 8, we are much better than Google Translate. In the remaining 19, we're par. But as soon as the translators start adapting, so the neural net can adapt on the person, on all 27 language pairs, we're basically 20-30% better than anything that is there in the market.
Wow.
And also not comparing to other, because it's a different purpose. So it's unfair to compare with Google. We're optimized on a specific task. But what really changed during time, then when we started applying that technique, the latest one about 2006, we've been keep measuring how many corrections the translators were doing over a very long period of time. And that was an incredible advantage because you measure the added distance, how much they change. So about 10 years ago, the number was about 42% of a sentence. So out of 10 words, translators were changing 4.2 words. And last year, it was about 26%. This year it's going to be 24%. And if you take a perfect translation done by another human and you give it to a human, they still change 11%.
Okay.
So not 0. I mean, this is not, the benchmark is not everybody agreeing. We're all different, luckily. So we're now, 26, 24. We have to get to 11 to make a machine that is actually better than the best professional translator in the world. And so we're working toward this direction. And this is creating a lot of opportunities for, not only for us, but for the translators that are finally not working on correcting again and again the same tedious stuff, but they're using their time to be more human, to communicate what actually text means, so they can be more persuasive. They can spend time on more creative stuff that we're not ready to solve with machine yet.
Sure. And so what's keeping you up at night? What is the bottleneck you have to reach your final goal, which seems to me it's this 11%. So like matching human performances, right?
Yeah. And so there is a couple problems.
I guess more than two. But.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, there's a couple that are that really wake me up at night. I have nightmares. And one is the fact that AI is so powerful. Many times get misinterpreted. And you need to find the right balance between supporting humans so that they have the time to adapt that change and improve themselves. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes we have to make sure that this balance is still working. And I totally believe of this symbiosis between human and machine. But we have to make sure that people are always ready to accept it. So we have so many challenges in how we integrate, and now we have this human-computer interaction. Sometimes you can make a small mistake that will break the trust in AI because you do something that the translator doesn't expect you to do. And so it's very sensible, and we can lose the trust in a matter of seconds. And also, this is one approach, symbiosis. But obviously, there is so many people that would like just to replace translators. And my fear sometimes is that this could happen. And so I feel that I have to work really, really hard to work on symbiosis so that we don't replace people, we help people.
It's interesting because so many people look at AI like a way to take humans out of the equation, while I feel like you have a completely different approach. You feel like AI is something that helps humans, makes them actually more happy because they can do something more creative, right? This is your goal, it seems to me.
Well, yeah, but I think that I don't think different. I think that AI should replace, but not replace humans, should replace boring human tasks. So I think that is the small difference, and
it's a big difference actually. It's one word, but it's a big difference, right?
Yeah. But so I think that obviously we want to be replaced, and I want machines to work for me. This is what I want for sure. But I know also, and that's why I'm confident in AI, that we're not able to replace the most creative part of the humans. So we can it's our limit. In AI research, we can actually only solve the boring stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't see the reason why we should be replacing humans.
Got it. So now that we are talking more like broad application of artificial intelligence, is there any recent development on AI that has excited you particularly?
Yeah. So there is a few things that I like recently. One is called the transformer. Mm-hmm. The transformer is a new model built by the Google Brain team, and the reason why I like it because it's very adaptable and can be state of the art in multiple disciplines like text to speech, text generation, machine translation, and so with a single model you can actually do many things. And in general, so I like these things that make AI more accessible to many people because now you don't need so much background in AI to get state of the art. And I don't like those tools that make it simple, but then you got suboptimal results. I don't like the things that give you 1% more than the state of the art, but they're impossible to understand. I love the transformer because you can really, with a small effort, you can get state of the art and you can make this accessible to many people.
Got it. And so, do you think like there's a specific industry that is gonna benefit the most from AI? And then, benefit is pretty relative. So there's someone who's gonna benefit and someone who's gonna be disrupted. So is there a field that you feel like it's gonna be completely changed by these kind of technologies?
Logistics, transportation, and in general, mobility. I think that we have an incredible opportunity to make things better. Mm-hmm. And the amount of cars we have, I think is 5 times bigger than what we would need if those cars will be able to drive themselves and pick me when I need there. So this is one. But the one I'm interested more is healthcare. It's probably one of the very hard topic, but the impact that it can have is very, very big.
Mm-hmm. So I remember, and I'm going to read this, I remember that on your LinkedIn description, when you say you're the co-founder of PyCampus, and you write, "We love state-of-the-art technology applied to disrupt big, slow-moving industries." So when I read this, I thought, this is brilliant, first of all. And then I thought, why certain industries are big? Okay, we know it. Why they are slow? So why healthcare is having problems in innovating in this field? What's stopping big companies from integrating AI?
More complex an industry is, and slower it becomes to grow and change. Medicine, healthcare. I mean, you need to spend a lot of time to be trained as a doctor. The amount of research you do, everything is very structured. And when this happens, you're not very fast in reacting to innovation. And that creates an enormous opportunity for startups. Because as a startup, it's not that on average you're much cleverer than those people working in the enterprises. You have two things. You can take bigger risk because you have nothing to lose, and you can move faster. And so by doing these two things, these two tricks, you can take any very big industry and having your chance of not simply selling something to them, but actually replacing them.
Mm-hmm. But that's true, I think, for any kind of innovation. Is there something specific of AI that makes it complex for a big industry to integrate it? Something that is different from, the standard digital transformation.
Well, it's not completely different because every innovation comes from the fact that you don't want to lose what makes you a stable company, your revenues, your quarter revenues, to take a risk of taking a new opportunity. And AI is just pushing this thing a little bit faster because the opportunity are created every day. They're very different. And you can actually, with small amount of resources, sometimes you can challenge big industries that have been doing things always in the same way. So it's just another great tool for doing innovation.
Mm-hmm. So here's the question. What would you recommend someone who was starting to approach AI? And I'd like you to focus on 3 different personas. One is a student, someone who wants to choose a career path and is interested in AI, an entrepreneur, and a corporate executive that is thinking about using AI to improve what he's doing and improve his company. What would you tell these 3 kind of people?
Okay, so to the students, I would say that if you want to have an easy life and a good job, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to try to take advantage of the great opportunity that the AI is bringing now to the market, drop out and start learning AI, because you're not going to learn the recent thing by being at your universities. Universities are not adapting fast enough for what is happening. So, but if you want to be conservative, have a nice job, finish your studies, that will maximize your probability of having an average good position. If you want to try hard and take a risk, then I think you should drop out immediately and learn some AI. If you're a corporate executive, I will say drop out and join a startup. We really need your knowledge. Startups are founded by young people that often have a very hard time in defining well the problem. Those corporate executives, they know the problem. It's just that their corporation is not able to solve them. And you have so brilliant young entrepreneurs that would love to solve the problem if someone is able to tell them what the problem is. So that what I will suggest to the corporate guy. And And then we have the entrepreneur. Well, I mean, if you're not part of those that will hire corporate executive, I would say that the AI is creating more opportunities than most of the things that happened in the past. The internet has probably been the biggest invention of this century, and I think that AI will be the next big thing. It's not so evident as always is at the beginning where the opportunities are, but if you look at all those problems that you could actually solve with 1,000 interns that will work very, very hard and ask no money. And if you identify problems those interns can actually solve, 1,000 of them, I think that there is an opportunity to build an AI to do that. And so I suggest them to look around the world and then find problems. It's probably full of them. And so just try it.
So you gave me actually two hints. The first hint is, you said that a corporate executive should join a startup to do innovation through AI. So the question is, why a corporate can't do innovation with AI? Or if they can, why is it so hard and it's better to join a startup? And the second question is, you said that someone at university should drop out from university to study AI the way it should be studied, just to know like the state of the art. So why universities are failing, and then probably it's a good idea to start talking about this place that solves this problem, right?
Yeah. So for corporation, I don't think that they're not able to innovate through AI in general. It's very, very hard for them to innovate in general, and so and a startup is just the beginning of something new. So it's definitely a better opportunity. If you want to do innovation, well, you have to choose between these two things. So it's not that the corporate is not able, it's just a better choice to join a startup. So it's much easier. And regarding your second question is about why universities are not teaching the latest things in AI. And it's not their fault. I mean, there has been a big change, maybe even that I don't like so much, but all the big researchers, the professors, the top professors has been hired by top companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon. Most of the AI research today is not happening in universities. That creates two problems. So the first one, the missing link between the researchers, the professors, and the students. And second, that the new thing is not happening inside the university, it's happening inside a company. So for that reason, the university is not able to adapt as fast as it should. But in general, if you look, the world of technology is changing exponentially, and universities are only able to adapt linearly. So the gap between these two can just increase. That's why if I have to give a suggestion, I will say the future gap looks bigger. You should drop on immediately and finding a different path. And thank you for connecting to our school, the Pi School of Artificial Intelligence. And it's a small contribution to try to bring some AI to people, and started with two basic ideas. The number one is that education should be free for anyone. And actually, I think that society should pay people to study because we are investing in our own future. And so we created a completely free school for students. And the second thing is that we wanted to resolve the gap problem. And so what we said is that, okay, now the grants for the students, it's not the students paying, it's the corporate that will pay grants for students. And what the corporate can do, they can define the problem of research. And so when the people study here, they study something that is perceived by the market as a real problem. And we do it by applying the latest state of the art. So if there is a paper that came out 3 months ago, that's the ideal one that we want to apply to try to solve the problem of the corporate. The corporate would be happy because they know they are testing their idea with state-of-the-art technology, and the students, well, it's free. They even get paid, and they receive some grants for paying their cost of living during the program. They can have access to the best mentors in the world. That many people worldwide donate, top researchers donate 1 hour a week to mentor students, each one of them, and they get great real projects to work on, and not just simulating on paper. So that was the idea. I hope it will help to bring more people to our small community, and maybe make that community a little bigger.
Great. So you're basically solving together the education issue and also the corporate issue of trying to evolve thanks to outside help, right?
Sure, we try.
Okay, great. So thank you very much, Marco. That was really interesting.
Thank you
for your time.